Hey everybody, so glad you joined us this evening. Welcome to our North Bay Live with John and Sean as we prepare to bring you some things that I hope are entertaining, encouraging, and spiritually uplifting for you this evening. As we get started, I want to share with you something that a friend of mine has posted on Facebook. It's a little video that he put together. It's just a lot of fun. Jason Yarbrough is a friend of mine who's a youth minister in San Angelo, and as we get this video started on the screen, I want to just tell you, Jason's a great friend. He's the kind of guy that makes full-time youth ministers look bad. He's a band director as well as a youth minister part-time, and he's just a great friend, and I really enjoyed this video he put together. Hope you do too.
The virus is on inside your head, they said to me. It's just in China, it won't travel across the sea. I said, then tell that to the towns in Italy. We'll all need 50 ways to beat this virus. 50 ways to beat this virus. Stay away from the pack, Jack. Don't visit your grandstand. Wipe down every toy, Roy, to keep virus free. Don't hop on the bus, Gus. Stay home if you're sick, Vic. Don't hoard the TP, Lee. Just stay virus free. We'll have to watch out, have to live more carefully. Have to get used to much more distance socially. Just smile and wave, boys, that will be just fine by me. We'll all need 50 ways to beat this virus. 50 ways to beat this virus. Sneeze into your sleeve, Steve. Stop touching your face, Grace. Keep back to 6 feet, Pete. Heed the CDC. Just use the Purell, Mel. Keep wipes in your purse, nurse. Take care of your stock, Doc. You're gonna need PPE. This isn't spring break, Jake. As COVID leaps, peeps. Just follow the rules, fools, and stay virus free.
So, yeah, Jason's a good friend of mine, and I loved this because it was a space or a way that somebody was taking their talents and their interest in people and just kind of sharing it with everybody, trying to lift people up and encourage them. I suspect you've seen others in the community, people that you know that are sharing their talents to encourage people, and I hope everybody watching at home has seen the same, witnessed some of the same stuff.
Yeah, you can say social media and all this kind of stuff, but there's some advantages because you get to see some of those talents that people may not share all the time, but when you have this available, you definitely see some of that stuff. Some of the things that I'm seeing is people are actually taking time to reach out and share.
Yeah.
I've got several friends from high school who are reaching out and saying, what's your favorite job? What's your job now? What's your best job? What's your funniest thing? Some of these things that, that reaching out and saying, who are you and what are you doing? So,
yeah.
Some great things out there that, this COVID thing has caused people to take some time,
Yeah, and not everything that people are doing to help encourage and impact the lives of individuals is happening on social media. Certainly there's a lot of that happening there, but there's people just in their everyday lives. I was talking to Charles Petty today, and he was talking about his toy, his 3D printer he likes so much, but he was sharing with me how he made a few I'm going to call them mask holders. I'm not really sure what else to call them, but he printed out some things that doctors and nurses, and I think he delivered them maybe to his doctor's office, but that they could wear, that allows them to take their masks and instead of clipping them over their ears, clip them back around behind their head, and it holds their mask on, and it keeps the pressure, I guess, up off their ears. And so it was really neat and encouraging just to hear somebody thinking about others and taking action. You know, how many times do we say, oh, that would be a great idea? And then we just let it fall with that, and we don't actually follow through.
Yeah.
So kudos to Charles and to everybody else that we're witnessing, reaching out to serve people and make them feel noticed and loved and
Absolutely.
appreciated.
I may have to call Charles. My ears are a little sore from wearing my mask all day long.
Now you probably don't have to call him. He heard that, and you'll have one, I'm sure. That's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah, for sure.
So some other fun stuff we thought we'd share with you that we pulled off of social media that you might find funny and to your entertainment. Maybe you're feeling this way. I know I am. My hairstyle today is called I'm Tired. Or I'm tried is what that one says. I can't read this far. I'm tried. Yeah, isn't it? Our patience is being tested. We're ready to pull our hair out. Some of us already have, and that's just the way things are going.
For sure.
Yeah. Or how about this one?
Oh, now, if you want to get some full protection, this guy has got this down. He has taken a few parts that wouldn't normally be put together, and he's put it together, and he's got some chrome. He's blinged it out a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I hear that the Texas government may be mandating that everybody wear these masks.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I hope not.
Yeah.
You know, this one is pretty funny to me, and it's funny to me because I do know some folks several people that I'm aware of who have had weddings, you know, not just celebrities that we've seen or whatever, but people in my life or in close vicinity to my life that have had weddings in the midst of this and done it virtually. And so this one's pretty comical. Mary, do you accept John to be your lawfully wedded husband? If you do, press enter. If you don't, press escape. Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, there's some tips out there, and this one I think is actually a pretty good one. If you wear your jeans 5 days in a row, they become all baggy and looks like you're losing weight. It says, follow me for more quarantine life pro tips.
There we go.
Definitely a good one.
Finding the good in the bad, right? Or how about this one? I don't know about you, but our family is constantly plagued by that question of, I don't know. When we come out of this and I ask you where we want to eat, I do not want to hear, I don't know. You've had 45 days to figure it out. Yeah. Isn't it time to get rid of those I don't knows and be a little bit more decisive?
For sure.
Good amount of time to make some decisions for sure.
Now, I don't know if you guys can read this, but this was a news situation that came out and was proven later to be false. But this was stating that Russia had over 500 lions that were released in their streets to help people be reminded to stay in their house. Now, you know, this is, you know, you think, would Putin really do that? He might. But this is actually something that's completely been found false. Another thing is, not everything out there in the media is true, and I think we need to be careful those things we listen to. I mean, many times we get caught up and we get on this roller coaster of emotions because of what we're seeing on the news.
Yeah.
And this is a marathon, not a sprint, and I think we need to take time to think through some of these things, and, you know, God's at the head of this thing, so.
Yeah. So remember, it's not all true. Current survival rate figures for the U.S. say are at a 98.54%. How about we promote that instead of fear? I liked the sentiment for sure of this thing. I don't know if that's an accurate number. I'm sure it's pretty darn close if it's not spot on. But the sentiment of this is absolutely the case, because I was thinking today as I was watching Good Morning America and some of the other programming I watch in the morning, it seems like really it was coming out in commercials. Everybody has gone to the fear, and everybody's gone to the negative side of things as they're promoting, as they're talking, and it maybe even start looking at the lessons and the sermons that will be coming down the pike and going, I want to be sure that I want to stay on the positive side of this thing and not drag everybody down into the negative, into the fear. Let's promote the good, the good in things, and not the bad. Those are some things that we found on Facebook that we thought, or in social media, that we thought were interesting finds. I want to encourage you guys as you come across things in social media that are encouraging to you, that are funny, that are uplifting, whatever the case may be, pass it on to us. Send it over to Sean, or send it over to John, send it to the church email, to us on Facebook, whatever. Get it to us somehow, and maybe you'll see your submission go up on the screen one of these times that we broadcast live to encourage one another.
Real quick, thinking about submission. If there's somebody or something that needs to be prayed about, we encourage you to send that to us, via the messages that are coming across. And if it's something that you want private, put out there private, and then the elders will take that in consideration for prayer. But if there's something that you need support, you need help, reach out, let us know, and if you let us know now, we'll share that with everybody as we know it.
Absolutely.
You want to talking about realism? We want to talk about the COVID.
Sure.
What Texas is showing as their real numbers as of it'd be as of noon today. We got 21,069 cases reported thus far, and that's with that 216,000 that have been tested. Of course, remember your stats. Portland's like 17,000 people. So, it's just over the size of Portland that's been showing positive there. And of course, we got a lot of recoveries coming back. And then we see the deaths there showing 543 fatalities in Texas. Again, those larger cities are the ones that are showing up to be the large runners in those cases. As far as our personal stats, Nueces County, there's been 90 cases reported, and that number hadn't changed in 3 or 4 days. And we have had one death in Nueces County from COVID. San Pat County, we're even more fortunate, evidently, because we've had 9 cases reported and nobody's died. So maybe that's because of our sparse populace in Nueces County. But these are, as true a numbers as we can find that's out there. So I think, again, we're still going through this, and we're going to see some things maybe changing as things start opening back up.
Yeah, so as we talk about some of those updates, some of the things that are maybe on the minds of our members are this idea of Texas, we're beginning to open up the state again. Mm-hmm. My first response when I heard that was I didn't know we were closed. It seems the terminology doesn't quite totally fit with what we've been hearing. We weren't talking about closing the state. We did shut some things down. We did change some things. So I guess I understand it. But then again, what does that mean that we're opening back up? I know that Monday the state parks opened back up
for day use. Yeah.
And then I believe it's today. All retailers were encouraged, invited, whatever, to return to work if they hadn't already, but it has to be curbside or delivery retail. And then it seems like maybe Friday there's something else that's happening. I can't recall what it was offhand.
I still haven't quite figured out that retail sale deal. It's, retail on the run, retail, call in your order, go by, pick it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still limiting those guys to what they can sell. I mean, can you imagine trying to go to Dillard's and grab some, I need clothing.
Right.
Something like that. It's going to be hard to do that kind of stuff. So
Yes,
It's going to be interesting.
it will be, and there will certainly be. I would think there will be some retailers that are going to struggle to be able to open back up. Some of them are already on the run and have already been doing that. You know,
Sure.
they adjusted quickly and were able to do so. We bought something at Best Buy the other day and totally drove up, said we're here. They brought it out to the car, put it in, and we drove off. It was the Best Buy experience I've ever had, you know. But you know, and of course your restaurants are doing that. But yeah, you make an interesting point with some of the major retailers. There's so much stuff in there. You know, it's going to be tough on them. I know the hospital restrictions and stuff have sort of lightened up a little bit. More elective surgeries are now.
Yeah, electives are being opened back up. I think you're here locally. I know that during this shutdown, they were actually sending some of the staff home because there wasn't enough patients.
Right.
Because a lot of that accessory stuff had been closed down. So a lot of those people were, and they were expecting a lot more influx, I think, but people took it to heart. They stayed home. You know, the little colds and flus that, you know, sometimes come into the ER that could probably be treated somewhere else, they're being treated somewhere else. So
Yeah. Well, you know, the real question that most of us probably have is the state's opening back up. Okay, so what? The real question is, what does that mean for North Bay? You
Yeah.
know, what does that mean for us being able to begin to worship again back inside the building together? And, you know, I got to tell you, I still don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means for
Yeah.
us.
The truth is, you know, it's going to be something that we're going to have to work on day by day. And I know that the elders have been in communication today about some of that discussion as to what and when. So
Right, and I think the assurance that we can't give you an answer yet as far as a when, but the assurance that we can give you is that as your leadership, as soon as we can, and as soon as it's appropriate, we will be back together in the building together, and know that we are already discussing what that even looks like, right? Because some wise counsel has been sent our way by interim ministry partners.
Yep.
For those that aren't aware, that's where Randy Daughtery works, and your good friend Randy. But they gave some great communication out and great suggestion that said, don't expect, and this would be a warning or a caution maybe for our membership, don't expect us to just immediately return to the way things were.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be some maybe baby steps or some gradual, some working back into this that needs to happen for health and safety reasons.
Sure.
Sometimes we've said it in our family like this: more is not always better. Sometimes it's just more.
More, yeah.
And so we need to be sure that, or just be expecting, yes, as soon as we can, we'll be back together. I do think we're closer to that. We're kind of on that back end, that downhill slide. We may still be at the top, but I think we're over the hump. So I think it's maybe within view. But just know that we're planning for that. We're looking for that, and as soon as we can, we will get back together. Let's talk about some other things that we've seen in the news, or some other things that are noteworthy for our membership.
Well, something I saw in the Christian Chronicle I thought was interesting, and I didn't share this with Sean beforehand on purpose because it's kind of something that I'm going to challenge him that, you know, this guy can do it, maybe you can too. I look at it and think, there's no way I could do that. But there's a Martin Smith, I don't know if anybody knows him, but he's the preacher at Bandera Church of Christ. Bandera's, you know, not too far from here. But he's 78 years old, and he has been preaching for, I can't remember, 50 years, something like that. And he said he knows that he's been in the pulpit 2,500 times, and he said he's never repeated a sermon.
Saw that article.
Yeah, you see that? I was like, wow. But did you read how he does that?
Yeah, he throws his notes away.
He throws his notes away.
Yeah, I can't say that I throw my notes away, but oftentimes I don't know that I could decipher my notes
Yeah.
after the week is
understand
over.
that.
I do keep some, and they're in a pile somewhere else, not for the intent of ever repeating them in this auditorium, but perhaps some of them maybe that I think were good, I might keep on hand in case I go visit somewhere
Sure.
or whatever. But
Pulpit's wild.
But I'm closer to his practice than I am to somebody who is
cataloging it out.
cataloging it and keeping it for forever.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Gordon talked about that. He talked one time. He told me, invite us to share with him those burdens and those frustrations. While we're talking about some things, I'm noticing some comments here from some folks. Deb says that Job's story has taught her patience. Certainly. Brings to mind that old adage that says, be careful what you pray for, right? Praying for patience is kind of a scary thing.
Here comes the challenge.
Robbie posts that God did not tell us bad things would not happen to us, but he did say that when they did, he would be with us. Absolutely. I go to Jesus all the time. Jesus' comment of, in this world you will have trouble
And strife,
but
yeah.
take heart, I have overcome the world. So absolutely, these are foreshadowings or foretellings of those very same things that Jesus would tell us as well. So just some really powerful things that this story has for us as God's people. I made tons of notes, scratched all over the place here.
One of the things something I think that can be brought out here too is, you have Eliphaz and Bildad and Zophar when they come to him, and they're obviously close enough friends that they come to him in this moment.
Yeah.
And in that, when they come to him, they give him their thoughts. No more like today. I mean, you want to know something, you put it out there, somebody's going to give you their opinion. And I think it's important here that he listens or he hears it, but I guess that's where that grain of salt comes in this situation. You have to weigh what's being said each and every day against what God's will, God says, and the Bible, and go, is it true?
Yeah.
And even, just like the lion story. Oh, that came out. Ooh, they put out lions. I can't believe that. But is it true? We need to weigh that. Advice from friends may be heartfelt, but they may not be the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's important to recognize in the midst of this, Job had faith in a God that he was personal with.
Right, absolutely.
Not faith in a God that was some abstract idea or some distant connection with him. His faith worked, and his faith sustained him, and his faith persisted because he had a personal relationship with this God that he had faith in. And that's evidenced through his ability to turn to God and to express his frustration, to cry out to him for help, to seek him in the midst of that suffering. All around the world, we have people, especially in this season, we have people ascribing to know God. But the real way, the only way they're going to weather this storm, so to speak, or come out of this season on a spiritual upside, is if they have a personal relationship with him. Just saying I know him will not be enough to carry them through. As it gets harder, as it gets more difficult, as it gets more challenging, without the personal connection to him, they will turn from it. They'll follow the advice of the friends,
right.
And they'll turn from God, and they'll turn to other things to try to navigate or come out of this on the other side. The last thing I really noted in here that was interesting is as God sort of answers Job in the last several chapters, he never gives Job a why answer.
Yeah,
He never gives him
straight
an
up.
answer for the why he suffered, but the way he responds to all of Job's pleading and accusing and challenging of him is he takes Job and he displays for him the creation of the world. He talks about the intricacies of the world and how God had formed those, and he sort of poses to Job this question of, do you really think you're capable of managing this planet? Do you want to micromanage this creation? Because that's kind of what your friends and what you are posing here.
Right.
You're posing this arrogance that you know best for all things, and you're questioning my position as God to rule supreme over all of these things.
Right.
And so you watch God walk him just gently through this place of don't be so arrogant, Job. Recognize what you're asking. And he kind of puts Job back in this place. He says, in essence, he says, we live in an amazing world that's not designed to prevent suffering. Sin entered the world way back in the garden, and God never took away the consequence of that sin. So this world is not designed to prevent us from suffering, and it's not God's intention to make life easy. God is a just God, but lucky for you and me, he's a gracious God. And so in the midst of that, we learn from Job to persist in our faith amidst the suffering, and God will bless us on the other side. Yeah. Now, I don't believe that means that when our suffering on this earth is over, we're all going to be wealthy and rich and and having, everything restored to us. The blessing comes in eternity. That's the blessing that's promised to us. And so we persist in our suffering, knowing that in the end, God blesses those who are faithful to him.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting conversation there. You think about, would you be arrogant but towards an earthly king? If you think about your Savior King, you think, would I speak that way? And I think that's where you're talking about how you can see that he has a very close personal relationship, because he feels that the way to get the answer is to be truthful and to be forthcoming to the one who can have that control and who can make the change.
Yeah.
So definitely.
Well, again, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. I could probably continue to talk all night long. I don't know that would be beneficial to anybody.
Big story.
So there's a lot to digest there, I think, in this story. I want to make some encouragements as we bring our evening to a close. I want to encourage you always as we are in this discussion. I foresee that we're going to use this format for a while moving forward. And so because this is, it's the most beneficial to me as a presenter to have some of this feedback going on, and I hope it's beneficial to you as listeners. So I want to encourage you to do a couple of things. One, continue to use the comment section throughout the night. Use it here on Facebook, and there's one also on the website. Now, let me add something here. I know the website, I think there's probably some trouble watching there tonight. I'm going to work on that some more. I noticed that there were some buffering issues on your side of viewing it. And so for those who tried to view us on the website tonight, my apologies to you if you had some troubles. I'm going to keep working on those settings to try to make that experience for you better. But know that hopefully you can find this video again after we're done recording on our website, as well as on YouTube if you're a YouTube user, on our YouTube channel. And it'll be on Facebook for rewatching as well. But use the chat windows as we're talking. Share with us your comments as we see them. We'll do our best to comment on them or share them with everybody that might be watching. We're probably not ever going to get them all, but it's certainly good to see the ones and to be able to go back after the fact and see what people are sharing. Also want to encourage you that during the show or even after we've signed off, to send us some feedback on how you thought it went, what else you might like to hear, what else you might like to see. If there's some ideas that you might have that would be an encouragement to you or to others, and just help us out. Help us make this offering something more beneficial to you. Finally, I want to encourage you, like my friend Jason and like Charles, to find ways that you can use your gifts and talents to encourage people in this season that we're currently in. Let's try to focus on the good things,
Sure,
and
absolutely.
on the positive things, and let's stop letting media and social media and the outside influences drive us to that place of fear. We've got nothing to fear. God is in control. Job's story reminds us of that. God is supreme. And though he did not design this world to be free from suffering, he did design us to be able to walk with him amidst our suffering if we will just put our faith in him. So use your gifts and your talents to reach out and to share with others the hands, in being the hands and feet of Jesus. As you see people that you know that have used those gifts, share that with us too.
Sure.
I'm going to make a commitment here that will force me to follow through by next week. One thing we hope to add by next week is to be able to call in and do some interviews with some of you that are at home, get you on screen with us, get you in conversation with us. I don't know who will be our first guest. But we hope to be able to call in some folks and let them join in this conversation with us a little bit throughout the night. I'm sure there's some other things that I ought to be sharing with you, but in just a moment I'm going to ask John to lead us in a prayer as we wrap up our time together. I want to remind you to check out the Bible Project and see all the resources that are there for you. Also, last week I mentioned a series called The Chosen. It is something that you can only get through their app, but if you'll go to, again, Google The Chosen, and I think you'll find the website there, and you'll find all the ways in which you can watch that particular episode or season or series. I'll get the right word in a minute. And I'm seeing lots of things on Facebook and social media right now promoting that and talking about the good that's coming out of those episodes. I haven't gotten too deep into it yet myself, but it's on my watch list for sure. But yeah, give us some feedback and let us know what we can do to serve you better.
Absolutely. I'll finish up that Robbie sent something in that caught my attention. It's, basically in this Job story, it brings out something that we never should ever forget. That in this moment, Satan has to ask permission to do his bidding. So that means God has control. No matter what's going on, God is in control. Like I said last week, this is God's world. And really, we just think, how are we living in it? And I think if we live justly, live graciously, I think God will support us through everything that we do.
One more thing before you go. I want to give a shout out to the woman behind the scenes over here.
Yeah.
Reagan Meyer has been up here helping us. All the scene changes, all the stuff that's been going on your screen, that's coming to you courtesy of Reagan Meyer. We appreciate her pitching in and helping us out. Looking forward to her help throughout the season as we put on this show for you guys.
Yeah, it's great that churches and we're kind of being forced to grasp and reach out to some of this technology, and I think it's going to be great. Hopefully, God will use that as we continue to go.
Yeah.
Let's pray. Lord God, Heavenly Father, we thank you that we live here under your rule on your earth, and we thank you that you've given us the avenue to reach out, to pray to you, to discuss with you our life, to share with you our concerns, to be able to open our hearts to you. Lord, I pray that as we go through struggles in this life, that we do reach out to you, reach out to our brothers and sisters, reach out to those who can support us, but ultimately may we draw strength from you in each and every day. Lord, I pray that as we face each and every new day, that we might see the light in the new dawn, that we might share with those around us why we have that smile that's on our face, why that in our difficult times that we don't just walk away, that we don't curse the day that we were here. Lord, I pray that you continually be with us in our struggles, in our ailments. Help us to draw strength. May we physically, spiritually, and emotionally come through this endeavor to be a stronger people, a stronger individual, and that we will ultimately be a brighter light to those that are around us. Lord, may we always look to you. May we dig deep and help us to understand your will for us, both individually and as a group of Christians that meet together. Lord, I pray that this time might go swiftly, that we might return to a semblance of normality, but may we take time to remember the difficulties so that we do not take for granted the times that we do have together. Lord, I pray that you continue to support us. I pray that as we do fall short and we miss the mark, that you forgive us and that grace may cover us. I pray all these things through your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Grace and peace. Have a great week.
See y'all next week.